Hi, welcome to the Daily Record High School Football Insider, Week 11 Playoff Edition. I'm sports editor Aaron Dorkson along with Mike Plant. Mike, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me, Aaron. Appreciate that.
Week 10, the game of the week, game of the year in the area that everyone was talking about was Norwayne visited Northwestern. Quite frankly, it didn't live up to the hype when Joe Dreyer, the star quarterback, got hurt in the first series of the game, but give credit to Northwestern, as a championship team does. They came out, did what they had to do, and easily won the game 30-0. Tyler Smith scored 2 touchdowns, rushed for 155 yards. Mike became the school's all-time leading rusher in the process. Is Northwestern avenged 2 real lopsided losses to Norway the year before. Jeremy Miller came in, a running back, filled in for Dreyer. I mean, he's a hard runner, but honestly didn't really look like a quarterback. You know, the Bobcats have taken some heat for not having another quarterback ready, but from what we've been hearing, they've just had a lot of injuries, even to the backups, and Jeremy Miller, did the best he could.
Yeah, like you mentioned, Aaron, the game obviously changed on Norway's first offensive play. Quarterback Joe Dreyer, after they ran a little flea flicker action, rolled right. He was under heavy pressure from Northwestern linebacker Bo Fortune. And when Fortune tackled Dreyer, they all came down. When they came down to the turf, he had his right arm extended kind of awkwardly and ended up with a slight separation of his shoulder. The good news, Aaron, is he's only going to miss 2 or 3 weeks. The bad news is that that's going to be basketball season because the Bobcats season came to an end. Dreyer, over 6,600 passing yards, Aaron, and 80 touchdowns in a great 2-year starting stint for the Bobcats. And congratulations to the Huskies for running the table in the Wayne County Athletic League.
Yeah, a great season for Northwestern. Also, quickly to recap some of the other highlights from Week 10, there was a lot of news. Worcester dominated Orville as Martavius Dyson scored 5 touchdowns. What was the final on that, Mike? I know you covered it.
56-0.
I didn't write that down. I knew it was big, one of the biggest routes in many, many decades. Triway, give them credit for locking up the outright PAC championship. I was talking to one person. They said they don't think they've won an outright league championship maybe since the 1970s. Chippewa did what it had to do to get only the 2nd playoff berth in school history when it beat Hillsdale 2013. They celebrated on the bus ride home. The bus erupted just outside of Worcester when the coach found out on the internet that they'd clinched. And a story that kind of went viral was Big Mike Hollowell. What a feel-good story for Rittman. A 6'5", 300-pounder with autism scored a touchdown in his final game as a senior. I know that's a story. What a privilege to write that and then also to see the video with that.
Yeah, and we've documented kind of the problems they've had at Rittman. It was nice to see them ended on a real high positive note. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll start delving into our 3 playoff games here on the Daily Record High School Football Insider.
Welcome back. Mike, let's just jump right into the 3 playoff matchups. It doesn't get any more exciting for covering high school sports. Whole towns, and even some of the schools that are out of the playoffs will be turning out to watch some of these games. There's only 1 game on Friday night. Waseon's going to visit Triway in Division 4, and then 2 games on Saturday. Loudonville at Northwestern, and Chippewa's going to Columbia in Division 5.
Yeah, the Friday night's game, the Division 4 game, Waseon will be making a 3-hour drive from Northwest Ohio down to Jack Miller Stadium. And Aaron, a lot of similarities as I've been looking at the players and the numbers between these 2 teams. Both teams, rarity for the playoff teams, only 6 seniors apiece, which, you don't often see young teams like that have so much success. Both have a 3-year starting quarterback who's made huge, big plays for them all season. And not a whole lot of size on either lines, but a lot of quickness. That pretty much sums up both teams. Waseon, 9-1 in the regular season. Their only loss, Week 5 loss to Bryan, 28-27, which cost them the Northwest Athletic Conference Championship. Bryan at 10-0, also in the playoffs, and we'll talk about that in a second. The region that Triway's in is really tough. Waseon led by a pair of Division I baseball players. Quarterback Ty Sunkin, who's a 5'11", 175-pound, three-year starter, will play college baseball at Ohio U. His coach said he's got a fastball about 92 miles an hour. Doesn't throw the ball a tremendous amount. He's only thrown the ball 136 times, but has thrown for 1,300 yards, 19 touchdowns there, and only one interception. So you know he's really smart with the ball. He's also run for 921 yards and 13 touchdowns. Their other key offensive player who will play college baseball at your alma mater, Bowling Green, Axel Buter, about 6 foot, 170 pounds, sat out last year to concentrate on fall baseball, but has come back to rush for over 1,100 yards and 19 touchdowns this year, averaging 8.5 yards a carry. As I said, they're not real big across the offensive line. They've got a 6'4" tight end, though, 6'4", 220, Noah Castle, who plays tight end and defensive end, has made some plays for him. And talking to Tony Lee about the Indians defensively, he said they're kind of a bend but don't break. They'll play some soft coverages, 4 cover 4s in the secondary. So he said our short passing game has to be sharp, and who else would Triway want running that than Parker Carmichael? Seems like we talk about Parker every week on this show and in the paper. He's only a junior. He's already at 6,881 career rushing yards or career passing yards, which has him less than 400 yards away from Tim Hiller of Orville, which is a record that we didn't think would be would be touched for a while. So he's closing in on that this year. He's got 27 touchdowns, only 10 interceptions. He's also run for 13 touchdowns. And Aaron, we've talked all year about how their defense has improved. Cal Huffman, the linebacker, has done a great job as a leading tackler. They've gotten improved play along the defensive front. And we also know about their bevy of wide receivers led by Troy Haven, a first-year starter wide receiver. All he's done is lead the area with 80 catches. He's got 9 touchdowns. Jordan Miller's their big play guy with 65 catches, 11 touchdowns, averaging about 18 yards a catch. And Dylan Kopp, a couple games you covered, I know had big games down the stretch for the Titans. So it looks like it'd be a good matchup. Real quick, on Triway's region, they're in Division 4, Region 12. Of the final Associated Press Division 4 statewide poll, the top 4 teams in the state, according to the rankings, were all from Region 12. That would be Kenton, Bryan, Genoa, and River Valley, all 10-0, all in Triway's region. Waseon was 8th, and the Titans finished 12th. And last note, they'll be making their Triway making their third playoff appearance in Tony Lee's 5 years. They're looking for their first win, and I think they got a pretty good chance at home on the familiar turf at Jack Miller Field.
Well, that's some pretty good information, Mike. Columbia, I'm just going to give some real quick things on the Columbia Chippewa game since we're running late on time. Joe Banyas, 28 TDs, 0 interceptions for Columbia, second leading rusher, unbelievable player. So be a tall order for Chippewa, but they've been 1-29. They're used to being the underdog. So I wrote a story this week. Just done a great job. It all started in the weight room, that turnaround to go 8-2. Team leaders like Stoney Epling, Bailey Breitenstein, Bo Wetzel. So that should be a great game, and then, you know, it'll be a fun double area matchup when Loudonville goes to Northwestern, Mike.
Yeah, we're going to take a closer look at that game when we come back after this final timeout.
Welcome back. Let's talk about our third matchup, the double area. I haven't had a chance to see Loudonville this year, Mike. I know you've seen them. They're pretty unbelievable, led by the duo of Ryan Weber and Colton Edmondson.
Yeah, they've had they're 9-1, lost in Week 9 to undefeated River Valley. Colton Edmondson, the junior that they moved from running back to quarterback this year, all he's done this year is become the school's all-time leading rusher. And break his own single-season record. He's got 1,538 yards on the ground, 10 yards a carry. He's also thrown for over 1,000 yards, while Ryan Weber has just cracked the 1,000-yard barrier last week. He's a big fullback bruiser, averages 7.5 yards a carry. Defensively, Tristan Bender, 118 tackles, big physical kid, got 4 interceptions. That's one more tackle than Weber, who's a linebacker. Heath Snyder, another kid who's making big plays. He's got 7 sacks. On the season, the Redbirds are outscoring opponents on the average of 40 to 11. And my take on this game, real quick, it's going to be a real physical affair. Both teams want to run the ball. Both defenses are hard-hitting units who play the run well. So, I think it's going to be a real head knocker.
I was just going to say, you could also call it a slobber knocker or a Donnybrook. We joke around, let's only use that a couple times a year. Don't overuse that good football term, but this one applies. I mean, it's going to be hard-hitting, nearby rivals. Maybe to me, one thing that might set it apart is Malachi Noletti, the Northwestern quarterback's had a little more success throwing the ball this year and over his career. So with how strong these two teams are and powerful, I don't know if they can necessarily line up and keep banging heads. So maybe a pass is going to separate or open things up. But, the Huskies also have their school's all-time leading career rusher and Tyler Smith, and just, a big, strong line that Mike featured this week. So, it should be an outstanding matchup, and there's a little preview of the 3 games involving area teams. I'd like to congratulate all the teams that played this year, and especially wish these 4 teams that are left in the playoffs good luck this week.
Yeah, and all throughout the week we've run features. I know we have game previews of all 3 games you can read in the Daily Record in Thursdays and Fridays paper, and hopefully we'll see you at one of the games this weekend. Thanks for watching.